lots of reasons to study economics. It helps us understand how the world works, understand what's going on. It helps us understand what's in the news. If you've listened to the news and you thought, what on earth is that about? You'll understand it more after you've studied economics. It helps us understand the problems in the world and how we can create solutions to those problems. And on a really practical basis, economics is also good for a career. As you can see from the data, students that have graduated with an economics degree are amongst the highest earners. Okay, so what do we study in economics then? Well, in the first year, we cover what's called the economist toolkit, the economic theory that enables you to understand situations like an economist would. And if you were studying economics in any country, in any level, this is what you'd start off with. It consists of microeconomics, and microeconomics looks at individual decisions by firms and individual consumers. And we're looking at things like markets and how markets work to get us the goods and services that we want. We look at how prices are determined through demand and supply, and we look at the decisions that firms make, how they make a profit. The second half of our economic theory is called macroeconomics, and in macroeconomics we look at the great debate between Keynes and the classical economists. This is particularly relevant in this time because we've seen government intervention on a scale never seen since the Second World War. And Keynes argued that this would be necessary at certain times. The classical economists argue it wouldn't. And we look at the policies that we derive as a result of these issues. So what do we do in the second year then? Well, we will build on the skills that we've developed in the first year, and we'll start to look at contemporary issues in context. So we cover issues such as market failure. So ideas like the damage that smoking can do to society and how economists can bring solutions to that and turn that into policies for government. We look at international trade, and we look at how much we import, how much we export, and how it affects our standing in the world. We also look at financial markets. The global financial crisis in 2008 was created by our banking system and banking systems in other countries, and what solutions we have to that. We also look at globalization, and we look at the impact that multinational companies have had for the good and the bad in this world. And finally, we look at developing economies. We look at the huge problems that they face, such as inequality, and how economists can come up with solutions and policies to help development occur. Economics is a popular and competitive degree course, and it's the foundation for lots of careers, lots of well-paid careers, as we saw earlier. Most prestigious universities do require A-level maths for you to study economics. However, you can apply to university to do economics without A-level maths. You will just have a more limited choice of the universities that you can apply to. So what are we looking for then in our economics students? Well, first of all, we're looking for someone that's got to be willing to work hard, because this will be a new subject for most people. It's not something that you've done before, and there is a lot of vocab to get used to and lots of reading to undertake. You also need to be interested in current events. You need to want to understand what's going on in the news. The theory that we teach in economics might not change, but the context in which we teach it changes every year. Paper 2 is a case study paper that looks at current economic issues, and those change all the time. You also need to be able to write well, to write a really good essay. Don't worry if you can't at the minute, that's our job, that's what we're going to teach you. Paper 3 is an essay paper, and it's the highest weighted paper in the exam. And finally, you do need to be good with numbers. You don't need to be a mathematical genius, and you don't need to study A-level maths, to study economics. GCSE level maths is all that's required, but you will be using maths and we will be looking at numbers, and it is 20% of the assessment. Okay, I'm going to leave you with a little quiz question then. Something that shows how economics can be applied to situations that you wouldn't normally think of as economics. So Game of Thrones, one of the most popular TV series in recent years, has had a massive economic impact on one particular economy. As you can see from the data, it's brought in a huge amount of income to that economy. It's generated money through tourism, it's generated jobs, it's generated a film industry in that part of the world. It's also created problems, it's also created congestion and overcrowding in that part of the world. So do you know what that economy is? It's not a million miles away from where we are now. And it's Northern Ireland. I hope you guessed it correctly. Okay, well, I hope that was useful, and it'll be good to see you in economics in September.